Welcome to Booze Free with Becca, an old school drinker who woke up in her 50s only to discover there is life after the bottle. I'm your host, Becca Jacobson, and this is one girl's opinion on why we should get sober and how to do it. I offer stories, solutions, options for recovery, and inspiration and motivation for women in the second half of life to put down that bottle and start living. If you're undecided, I'm here to convince you to take the leap, and I'm here to help you along the way. Listen, gals, we've wasted enough time, so join me and my group of amazing women on the thrilling road to recovery. I'm determined to bring as many of you with me on this journey as I can, so let's get to it. Hello, gals. Thanks for joining me today. As always, so grateful to have your attention briefly for a short little check-in. Today I want to share with you the 2 rules of conduct. There are 2 rules and 2 rules only in life. I did not make these up. You may have heard them before. They are rule number 1, do not sweat the small stuff. Rule number 1, do not sweat the small stuff. Rule number 2, it's all small stuff. Rule number 2 is, it's all small stuff. What is the point of that? Well, I'm sure you're smart enough to figure it out, but I thought it might be interesting to talk about. I mean, really, doesn't it all boil down to just taking life as it comes and accepting things as they come to us as, with any luck at all, for our own growth and benefit? I know, this just sounds like, oh no, one of those again. This is stuff we read about, we hear about, we see memes about, podcasters say, and the old eyeballs start rolling. I'm an eyeball roller. I am. I'm from a long, long line of eyeball rollers, which really means in some ways that I'm a cynic. And that's something I'm actually trying to work on, to stop being so cynical and heard that before, been there before, done that before. But, what can I say? I've been around the block so many times, they named it after me. And after you've been through so much in your life, you really do start growing pretty thick-skinned and calloused and cynical, and the eyeballs are rolling and rolling. But there does come a point in life, I have found, when it can be good to just stop. Stop it. Open the heart and listen to what somebody has to say. It might actually help, right? And so once I started doing that, it really did help me a lot. And so this, rule number 1, don't sweat the small stuff. Rule number 2, it's all small stuff. It really would have been something that I would have rolled my eyes at in the past. But now I find that it's something that I try really hard to live by. And after a while, when you put this into practice, I was so touchy, so sensitive to everything. Everything was a complete catastrophe, a major disaster. I remember my mom once actually saying to me, she says, I'm afraid to even say anything to you. I never know how you're going to react. And it was because I was so incredibly, I don't even know what the right word is. I hated myself. Life to me was deadly serious. And it was horrible. I mean, life was horrible. My life was horrible. All the time, everything sucked. And, I had to take it seriously, because if you only knew how horrible I felt all the time, you would understand why life is so serious. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. I'm having a hard time even explaining it, because it makes no sense to me now. But, at the time, the bottom line is that I was always struggling with alcohol, and varying degrees throughout my life. In my 20s, it was just nonstop. In my 30s, it was controlled, trying to control so that I could, my drinking binges, so that I could get my university degrees. And then in my late 30s, controlling my binges so I could, start my career. All through my 40s, controlling my binges so I wouldn't lose my career. I mean, what kind of life is that? My whole life was defined in one way or another by trying desperately to keep alcohol from taking me completely out of the game, you know? And so, yeah, it was serious business. And I was constantly scowling. I was touchy. I was hard to get along with. I mean, and that's how I lived my life right up till 52. In fact, it's more accurate to say right up till 53, because my first year of sobriety was not fun. It was not fun. And in fact, my first year of sobriety wasn't sobriety. I went into a treatment center for 8 weeks, came out, and the first thing I did was drink. I don't even think I've told you that story yet. I've got stories I have yet to tell you. And so life was really serious and really, really hard and really, really stressful. And so everything, these two rules, that's a joke, if I were, and now, it is all small stuff. Even the so-called big things in life that come at us, like, really serious illness or death, we can survive these things. We don't survive our own death, but we will survive the death of our loved ones. We will survive illness when it comes along. My mom had breast cancer, and she didn't survive it. And I'm standing here today talking you through it and talking to you, having gone through that. And I thought there was a time in my life where I thought if I had ever had to go through that, it would kill me. I wouldn't know how to face it, especially not sober. But and so it boils down to how we feel about ourselves, how our life is going for us, and then we can be open to whatever's coming to us and know that we have what it takes to face life. We have we have a support system behind us, people in our lives that care about us and love us and know what we are trying to accomplish. For me, that is not only family and partner, but also community, an amazing community of women that I know care about me a great deal. And whatever comes my way, I know I can be there for them, and I'm there for, they'll be there for me, and I'm there for them. And so, yeah, hard stuff will come, but even the hardest stuff, in retrospect, is stuff that we live through, and therefore it's just not worth losing your crap over. We have to face life, right? Because life's going to happen whether we want it to or not. It really boils down to whether we can use it to grow. I'm now at a point in my life where I firmly believe that everything that comes towards us, everything that comes for us, everything that comes into our lives is put there to teach us something, to help us to grow into the person that we were meant to be. And yes, I would have rolled my eyes at that one, let me tell you. But I believe that with all my heart now, all my heart. Everything that I've been through has been to bring me to this point here and now where I can actually say these words to you and live my life in a way that I never even imagined was possible before. I honestly didn't even imagine that it was possible. So there it is, gals. There are only 2 rules. Rule number 1, don't sweat the small stuff. Rule number 2, it's all small stuff, because you are strong enough to not only survive it, but grow through it. And if you're not feeling strong enough to grow through it, then that means you don't have the proper supports in place in your life. And I strongly encourage you to get them. Get them, because it makes a huge difference. And I remember, as always, I'm rooting for you. Thanks for listening today. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now. Thanks for listening, gals. And don't forget to join me on Facebook or Instagram. And you can leave me a review, you can follow me, you can subscribe, you can share. And I'd love to hear from you at becca@recoveringwithbecca.com. Bye for now.